Can we talk for a minute about our Integrating Heart and Mind workshop?
Absolutely. I'm excited. It's coming up in the fall of 2024.
I'm so excited. We changed the format to make it more accessible to people with like work schedules and personal schedules. And so this time we're going to do it 3 hours on a Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're at, and 5 hours on Saturday for 2 different weeks in September.
Yeah, it's so great. Like if you're finding yourself stuck in like sticky bad patterns or having communication issues or something like that, or if you want to just like get closer and trust yourself or your partner more, this is the workshop for you.
Yeah, and individuals are welcome, couples are welcome. If you're interested in really thinking through how to serve yourself well inside of your relationships, then we've built a workshop that will support you in finding the ways that are just right for you.
To sign up, head over to our website at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We hope you'll join us. Welcome to the Why Does My Partner podcast.
I'm Jules.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Rebecca. We're your hosts. We're also couples therapists and messy humans bumbling through our own relationships every day.
We met at a training, and our secret sauce is that we and our partners became fast friends. Between us, we have more than 40 years of experience holding hard relational questions with our clients. We're going to bring those questions here.
And together, we're going to take a stab at answering those questions. This podcast is not a substitute for couples therapy. If something you hear in this podcast stirs something deep within you about your relationship, reach out to a couples therapist in your area.
We also love to hear your questions, so don't forget to go over to whydoesmypartner.com to leave a question of your own.
Welcome back. I'm Jules.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Rebecca. And today's question is, why does my partner let go of focusing on the relationship when things in his life get stressful? It's like our relationship is the first thing to take off his agenda. Yeah, but I hear this like our next live workshop, Integrating Mind and Heart, will be held online from September 22nd to 24th, 2023.
If you want to get closer and trust each other and yourself to get through the hard moments, this is the workshop for you.
Sign up at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
Like all the time.
All the time.
This is really common.
It is really
is.
common. I don't hear it all the time, but I do know that it's really common.
Yeah. So one of the whys is safety, right?
That was my first thought when I read it. Yeah. That he, like not in a bad way, that he feels safe in the relationship. And so he thinks, I think subconsciously, that he can take it off the agenda and that the partner's not going to go anywhere.
Isn't that like taking it for granted?
It is.
Well, yeah, but
that's
in
the
my
other
mind,
side of it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that tips into the like more negative side. I totally agree. I just think it's both. Like there's this safety, and he thinks he can, and he knows she's. I'm assuming a she, and I shouldn't, but like that the partner isn't going anywhere, and then the other side of that is taking it for granted, and that's a bummer.
Yeah, that's what happens, right? So when you start adding stress, what you're going to do is your window of tolerance is going to naturally get smaller. You're going to need to cut energy expenditure somewhere.
Let's slow down for a minute for our listeners, because I don't know that everybody who's listening to us knows what a window of tolerance and an energy expenditure is.
Totally. I might not even be using those terms the same way everybody uses those terms. So here's what I mean when I say it.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the list of stuff that I can handle in this world.
Yeah.
And that list is not fixed. That list is a little bit smaller or bigger. And part of the flex of that list has to do with my current energy needs and output. So if I'm under a ton of stress, or if I haven't slept a lot, or if I haven't eaten in a long time, so let's say I'm really hungry right in this moment, it may be that normally my kiddo losing her shoes at school would be on my okay list. It's fine. But in this moment, I saw 7 people. I haven't eaten since this morning. I was late on my way getting her from aftercare. And I pick her up and she goes, I can't find my shoes. And I go, right? That now, her not being able to find her shoes just moved onto my not okay list.
Yeah.
Why is it
Outside
there?
of your window of tolerance.
Outside of my window of tolerance. So if it's on the not okay list, my brain is flipping its lid a little bit. It's becoming a little bit less integrated. And that's not bad or good. It's just,
Thank you.
got it. We're under high stress. Better to reserve extra resources and move hyper fast, which an unintegrated brain or a less integrated brain is better at.
I
So
like to
less integrated
also-
doesn't mean worse or anything.
Yeah, I like to also think that like some of the things that might move us into that less integrated place, just for like shorthand. I used to have like an acronym that kind of covered a lot of it, and then I kept adding things to it. So, like hungry, angry, lonely, tired. The
I was
acronym
just
was
gonna
HALT.
say, was this
But
HALT?
then, like, you have to add things like sickness and pain, right? Like,
Yeah.
Schultz.
I adore that drama background that you have. That was awesome. It sounds German.
Sick, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and pain.
She's like explaining it because we didn't know.
No, I know. Everybody knows.
Well, if anyone wondered if this was done spontaneously,
I did not prep that.
she did not.
you can keep going. I'll be here for another 10 minutes.
So,
by the way, I have to. If anyone listened to the last one, speaking German was on my wouldn't it be fun if list, and that word just sounded German to me. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's not. I don't think. I don't speak
No,
German.
it's a made up word.
No, totally. I love it.
Oh,
So these things might shift how much energy is actually available to be put out. And so some things might jump from one list to another. Oops. And now they're outside of my window of tolerance for this moment. And there are other things that are outside of my window of tolerance all the time. Like if somebody tried to hit me.
Right. That's a really
100%
good
of the
example.
time, that's on my that is not entirely true. I'm an old Krav Maga person. And if I am sparring or in a class,
Okay.
actually, hitting is on my okay list. I can handle it. And so okay does not mean
That's a good description.
yeah, okay does not mean feels good necessarily. It means I believe I can handle this. It's a subconscious perception of I can handle this stuff.
A
And so
subconscious perception of what
That
you
I
can handle.
Yes.
That's what I mean when I say okay list. It doesn't mean
is
like
beautiful.
feels awesome because
No,
some
right.
stuff that's on my okay list.
And it doesn't mean like you're going to be
doesn't-
calm. It means like, I got this.
It means I got this. Yeah.
Even
In
if
other
I'm
words,
flipping out.
another way of saying I got this is I trust myself.
I trust myself. It's a self-trust state, right? And so I should trust myself less to handle some things if I'm schultz. Because my resources are already taxed because of the hunger or because of the anger or because of the loneliness or because of the pain, right?
Or the tiredness.
Or the tiredness or the sickness, right? So there are plenty of things that might be I might have less energy for, right? So when I say energy output, I just mean your brain is in a constant balancing space. You take energy in, you put energy out. So taking in energy through relationship with another person who feels yummy to you is one way we resource ourselves, or eating healthy food or sleeping enough or drinking water. All of these things are going to be helping us out. And then when it comes to caloric output, it's all that stuff that you do to get more of what you need and want or to keep your body safe. So you're going to be energy expending to do life, and you're going to need to take in energy. And our bodies are weird. We take an enormous amount of energy. Your brain uses somewhere around 25% of your energy just at resting state. That's super odd. A bunch of animals are more in the 6 to 8% range with how much their brains are taking in from the resting state calories.
Wow.
Ours are around 25%. So you have an enormous like suck on your energy resources when you're chilling. much less if you have one of these stressors going on. So probably
Okay.
one of the things that's happening here is your partner has a lower window of tolerance in that moment because there's stressors from the outside that are pulling on those resources. And so his
Mm.
window of tolerance is narrowing a bit.
Yep.
It's going down a little bit. Mhm.
So like, and
And
I just want to bring us
yeah.
back to the way that the person who asked the question,
Mhm.
because they are alluding to this, right? Why
Yeah.
are they why is their partner letting go of focusing on the relationship when things in their partner's life get stressful?
Totally, and this brings me to what Vic was talking about. Well, I feel safe in the relationship, so it feels like okay not to
That's the
expend
part.
energy there because I can trust it's gonna be there when I expend energy in these other places.
Right.
But because I can't expend energy all the places, I have to choose some place for it not to go.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
I think that trust or safety may be part of what's happening, and that sucks.
That totally
Mhm.
sucks. And
Yeah.
so let's make room for the suck.
Mhm.
And then I think another
Yeah.
piece that I hear
Bummer.
often is I have a lot of people who come in kind of attached to this idea of spontaneity,
I
right? Like, well,
love
I
it.
don't need to schedule things for our relationship because it should just happen.
Uh-huh.
Things should just happen, right? Like, we
I
don't need to
wish.
schedule. Right.
I
Right. I
Yeah.
wish. But like,
Well, it
honestly,
depends, right?
it depends on how you line up your life and like how
Right.
you schedule your
Yeah.
life, right? So, like, I've gotten to a point in my life where basically, like, I have a very scheduled life from about 8 to 5, Monday through
Right.
Thursday, Monday through
Mhm.
Friday. But I know that my evenings are reserved for certain things. Like, I know I
Mhm.
have my time with you guys,
Mhm.
right? Where we're
Mhm.
recording this podcast.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's a regular thing. My family knows about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
And
know
it's
that,
scheduled.
right, it's
Mhm.
scheduled. It's on my
Mhm.
schedule.
This is not
I
spontaneous.
know that I
Mhm.
have like I'm on like a committee under my local board of ed. I know that's on my
Mhm.
schedule once a month, right? So like there's certain things, but I also know like my kids have their appointments that they go to. I know that but
Mhm.
then I also know that on weekends there's a certain block of time where my kids go to a thing and my partner and I don't schedule anything. So we can be spontaneous because we've scheduled the spontaneity into our
I was
life.
just gonna use that term, scheduled spontaneity.
Yeah. And it's a wide open window,
It's a
right?
Wide open window.
Yeah.
But we can be
Where there's room
spontaneous with
for it.
that
Mhm.
time with
Yeah.
each
Mhm.
other.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. You know what else I was thinking about is there's different moments when for sure connection feels more spontaneous and easier, which would be when I'm on vacation with my partner.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it is like a block of 5 or 7 days or something like that of completely unscheduled time.
Mhm.
Maybe we signed up for, like, I don't know, a writing lesson or something, but, like, there's mostly it's just free flow time. Well, there's tons of room for spontaneity there.
Mhm.
If that happens not to be the day-to-day life you have, then you have to schedule it, you have to prioritize it.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like if I was seeing a client, I wouldn't not show up for that meeting. Or if I
Mhm.
if I
Right.
have this
Mhm.
with you all, I don't not show up for that.
Mhm.
Something would have to happen, right? Where I'd need to
Mhm.
reschedule. I need to prioritize time with my partner at that level of priority.
Mhm.
And I think it is taking for granted. I think that's the
Mhm.
thing. The safety lets us take it for granted. And
Yeah.
then we don't wanna deal with the grief that we can have all these lovely things we want, but we cannot have everything we want. I don't get to have a life this busy and spontaneity with my partner all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
It's not physically possible.
So when our lives are overscheduled and we're completely stressed out, and
Mhm.
then we're sitting there wondering, what's the matter with my relationship?
Mhm. Totally.
It almost
Totally.
sounds rhetorical when you say it. That's why I have to laugh.
Well, right.
And
But
I know
like,
it's
Mhm.
not, but it
it's
really does
not
sound
like
like
how
that.
many people find their way into our office
Yeah.
because they have
Mhm.
completely overscheduled lives
Totally.
and they're
Yeah.
very stressful jobs.
Mhm.
right? And they have
Mhm.
a million things that's going in 25 different directions at the
And they
same
wonder.
time.
Mhm.
And 3
And
different
they
kids and different
Mhm.
activities after school
Oh
every
my gosh.
day
Right.
and
Mhm.
board
And
meetings
each
and
kid is
travel
on
for
3
work.
sports teams,
Yeah.
you know, and they travel and they have to
Mhm.
be in 2 states on the same day, and they
Mhm.
don't have time for their
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. No, they don't.
They
That's the
don't.
reality.
It's the reality.
S
They don't have
so
time.
if you want to treat your relationship like it matters,
You have to treat it like
then
it matters.
I was just
you
gonna say
actually have
that.
to
Then you
do
have
that.
to treat it like it matters.
You have to
Yeah.
cherish the relationship.
Mhm.
And you know what I'm just realizing? Let me do a U-turn, like, while we're here. The last, like, month or so has been, really tough for me in a work way, not in a home way, in a work way.
Mhm.
And my bandwidth has been really taxed. And we also recently had an anniversary, so I had prioritized and
Mhm.
scheduled some time off purposely around that time, and we had really, really good connection on that time. But one of the things I wanna U-turn with you all is what a terrible job I did of cherishing him over this last month.
Mm.
Mhm.
Because the truth is I backburnered our relationship because it's safe and he ain't going anywhere.
Mhm.
But what happens is I'm taking him for granted, right?
Yeah, it's the
So
both.
so really, if I'm in a space if I wanna treat my relationship really well, when I'm in a space of high stress, I actually wanna up my cherishing behaviors in the small ways where I can.
Mm.
Which could be tiny.
It
Like,
could be
let's just
tiny.
name that for people. It could be like
It
things
could
like,
be
Thank you. I was gonna ask for a concrete
yeah,
example.
I
yeah.
like to think of things like partings and returns,
Mhm,
Mhm.
right? So when you're going to sleep, when you're waking up, when you're
mhm,
saying goodbye, when you're saying hello,
mhm,
Mhm.
right? When you're doing the ritual of maybe sitting down for a meal together,
mhm,
right? Like to make those moments the moment, right?
mhm.
Like it could
Mhm.
just be good morning
Yeah.
instead of
Mhm.
morning.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Right? Like, just
yeah.
notice that.
Yeah.
Like, notice,
Mhm.
like, the impact that it could have if you're like, "Oh, good morning. I've
Yeah.
got a really stressful day, and it's so
Mm,
good to see you."
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
As opposed to, "Oh, uh,
yeah.
uh,
And for
Mhm.
those who aren't as
coffee."
verbal, it could be a totally.
Right, right.
I'm just gonna say, so for some of us, I'm a talker, so I'm probably
Mhm.
gonna do it like talking, but for some of us, it's more like a longer hug
Mhm.
or touching somebody's back when you walk by them in the kitchen
Mhm.
or leaning over and going, "Wow, you look amazing. I wish I had time to do something with that today." It could be the
Right.
Mhm.
littlest teeny tiny thing,
Mhm.
but I think
It could even be
I'm gonna
like,
just join all the listeners out there who are maybe doing a shitastically fabulous job of treating their partner like they can take them for granted.
I love that
Eh
word, shitastically.
and let's do
Mhm.
better, yeah? Like, let's
Mhm.
up that cherishing when your stress is high, and these days, whew, there's
Whose
something
stress
going
isn't high
on.
right now?
There's something going
Mhm.
on. Everybody who's coming in, all the
Mhm.
consults I'm doing with other therapist people around the world, they're
Yeah.
seeing people around the world, and the stress is really high. People are not okay.
People are not okay.
And so that means probably our relationships are getting backburnered.
Mhm.
So let's up our cherishing where we can, and let's grieve what we have to reschedule so that we can add this part of our lives as a priority.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we can't have everything.
I like to sometimes also just remember that if it's not scheduled, it's
Mhm.
not really a priority. And so
Exactly.
sometimes the thing we need to schedule is, like if I want to work out, I've got to schedule that,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? I even
Mhm.
True
have to
dat.
schedule like my lunch. I have to schedule my dog walks. If
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
going that minute in terms of my scheduling and I'm not scheduling time for my relationship,
Uh-oh.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So,
You're basically choosing to backburner it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
On accident. I'm trying to cut people a little bit of slack.
Yeah,
Well,
not
maybe not.
purposefully.
Not
Not
purposefully.
purposefully. I hear you, not
I mean, like, I
purposefully.
have to
I
schedule
didn't
snacks.
purposefully do a bad job of cherishing Adam for the last month of my life,
Right. Not purposely.
but I didn't think about it because I was so stressed.
Because
But
it felt so safe because you took it for granted.
exactly, which means I gave myself permission to not think about it.
And for
Did
a
I do it
period of
subconsciously?
time, maybe that's
Yeah.
okay. Like maybe you guys had enough
Totally.
oomph, in there, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
wasn't going to run out of steam
Right.
because you weren't cherishing him for that month,
Mhm.
and you noticed it, and you made time, and you're
Mhm.
noticing it now, and you're doing a little, you're doing the
Mhm.
U-turn.
Mhm.
And if we continuously have moments of not
Mhm.
cherishing and taking for
Mhm.
granted
Oh
and
my
being in
gosh.
stress, and those go on for months after months after months after
And
years
years
after
after
years after
years after
years,
years. I mean,
different.
how many couples come into our offices who have been
Yeah.
doing this pattern for 6, 7, 8, 10,
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
years? Well, no kidding. It doesn't feel like you have a relationship left.
Yeah.
We can't say enough about the importance of cherishing each other and prioritizing time.
Yeah.
So
Fostering
yeah,
that
you might be
connection.
able to do this for a month
Mhm.
when you're going through something hard
Mhm.
that surprises you, that you weren't expecting, that you didn't plan for,
Mhm.
or that you have like a really tight deadline on.
Mhm.
But if it's continuous,
Mhm.
it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
If it continuously
does.
is, oh, I'm just stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed. Like, can we take a look at that?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Changes might need to happen, like bigger
Mhm.
changes eventually.
Well, you get to choose, right? If I choose to say I'm not going to examine the stress level in my life, and it means that I don't have time for stuff I say is important,
Mhm.
then that's
Then
a
I've
choice we're
chosen
making.
what's important.
Yeah.
Mhm.
By default, I've chosen what's
Yes.
important.
Yeah, not
And there
choosing
may
is
be other
also a choice.
consequences to that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All
Hmm.
right.
All right. Love each other best you can.
Bye-bye.
And one more thing. If you really want to make time for your partner, join us this September for our Integrating Heart and Mind workshop. Learn more at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We'd love to have you there.
That wraps up this week's episode. Join us again next week for another Why Does My Partner?
We hope that you continue to listen wherever you get your audio and that you'll follow the show.
To go deeper, join us at one of our workshops. You'll find our next date at whydoesmypartner.com.
Did you know you can ask us your questions?
Your questions are relational gold.
Go to whydoesmypartner.com to either write in or record your question for a future episode.
And here are some gratitudes. Thanks to Al Huberman, our sound editor and podcast production magic maker.
Thanks to every one of you who has joined us for our workshops in the past. We've learned so much from all of you.
And thanks to everyone who's reviewed the show on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews help others to find the show.
Take care of each other best you can.
See you next time.